Dave here with Half Dozen Customs. Still here fighting with this tailgate. I don't know what it is with this tailgate, but ever since I started on it, it has just been a fight. So earlier today, I didn't film it, but I made a buck and I attempted to bend this corner over here in one piece. You know, I had talked about building a buck and then we were gonna make some corner pieces to round up the inside of these corners, and we were just gonna do it in one piece so that you know, it came out a little nicer and a little cleaner. You know, if I can do it in one piece, I'd rather do it in one piece. Sometimes it just can't be done. And I had mentioned that in last night's video that if it didn't work, we would just go ahead and do it in two pieces. So I didn't film this morning. I just wanted to see if it was able to be done. And it was not. It was, for one, I think, you know, I was trying to, I couldn't just clamp this little itty bitty corner in between two pieces of wood and try and hammer it out. It would have just pulled itself out of the wood. So I had to use a larger piece of metal, and I was hoping that I'd be able to clamp it in the wood. We'd be able to hammer it out, fold it over, and then I could trim it up and make it fit how I want it. Well, I noticed as soon as I started hammering on it, you know, we needed a three-quarter inch lip. That's the width of this from the inside metal to the top edge. It's 3/4 of an inch. So I was trying to do 3/4 of an inch fold over into the curve, and as soon as I started doing it, it only bent over about halfway. It wasn't bending over tight up against the buck. So I grabbed a little heat and I heated it up a little bit, and I went to fold it over the rest of the way, and it just ripped the metal. And this metal's not, it's not thin metal. I mean, this metal's, you know, a pretty decent gauge metal. So I was surprised when it ripped it, but as soon as it ripped it, I was like, well, that's it. Like, you know, this isn't gonna work how I wanted it to. And I took the buck out of the vise and pulled a piece of metal out, and the wood was destroyed. Like, and it wasn't destroyed from me hitting with the hammer, because I never beat on the buck. I never made it to that point. I was only hammering on the metal to start stretching that metal out to even get over to the, you know, to the folded part of the buck. Just the force of the metal itself, of me trying to bend that metal over, it just crushed the wood. So now I didn't use the strongest wood that I could have. I just grabbed a piece of a 2x10 back there and made a buck out of it. I know the last buck, I don't even know what kind of wood it was. Literally, it fell off the back of a truck in front of my house. It was a piece about yay big, and a truck was driving by, and it fell off the back of the truck and went sliding across the road, and it was laying in the middle of the road. We already live on a pretty dangerous street, so I went out there and I picked up the piece of wood and I leaned it up against the front of my house, and it sat out there all day, and at the end of the day I picked it up, brought it in my shop. So I gave them plenty of chance to turn around and come get it. They did not. So and I don't know what kind of wood it was, but whatever it was a lot stronger than the 2x10, because I had turned it into the buck for the side pieces back here. We hammered them all out. It did not damage the wood at all. It stayed perfectly okay. I was able to make, you know, another one out of it. This one I didn't even get one made out of it, and it was destroyed. And I understood that was a possibility of it happening. I just wanted to see if it could be done. I spent probably about an hour and a half making the buck and getting the metal in there and hammering it out. I did a good job making the bucks. I used a hole saw. This was just, excuse me for 1 second. This was just one piece of wood. I used a hole saw. I drilled the hole saw in there. The size that I needed, I'm matching this piece that we made for the back of the bed up against like the cab. I used the hole saw that follows that corner, and I drilled a hole all the way through the 2x10. You can see it was a 2x10. I drilled a hole through it with the hole saw. Then I cut it in half. We sanded up the edges real nice, so that it's kind of rounded over, because the metal here, you know, it has a rounded edge. So I was hoping, you know, when we bent the metal over the buck, that it would, you know, follow that nice rolled edge. But if you look, you know, if you look down on it now, you can see it totally rolled over both corners of that wood. And I mean, you can see in the wood, I mean, there's maybe a couple of hammer marks after it ripped, but you know, I didn't beat on the wood with the hammer. I was just beating on the metal, and the metal ripped, and I was like, okay, you know, it's not gonna work. You know, it's just too much of a curve for that. You know, me personally, I think, you know, if I had a plasma table and I had some good thick pieces of steel, you know, cut a circle out of a good thick piece of steel with the plasma table, and then use the center circle that you pull out, and put the piece of sheet metal between it and my press, and you press it through so that you get a 3/4 inch stamped circle in the metal, and then you cut them in half, and you would have, you know, one whole side done. I think that's the better way to make it happen. I don't have a plasma table, nor do I have metal that is that thick. So, you know, I tried to do the buck. It failed. You know, I wouldn't say it was a fail. It was a learning experience. I would say that I would attempt to do it again if I had some thick steel that I could cut and make that buck out of, and be able to beat on the steel and know that it's not going to deform like the wood would. I would definitely attempt to try and make these corners again. I just think the wood here, you know, is just a scrap piece of wood I had laying in the corner. It's just too soft, and I don't have, you know, I have plywood and 2x4s and 2x10s and stuff like that. I don't have, like, you know, super strong like oak wood here, or whatever is the stronger, you know, I don't know, pine, whatever. Not a wood guy. I don't know what's super tough and super strong, but I think if I had a stronger wood than just a 2x4, you know, maybe it would have worked. But I think for sure steel would have worked, or building a press type thing would have worked. So, you know, what we're going to do here is we're going to build it in 2 pieces. I did spend a little bit of time before I turned the camera on to actually do a corner. It's not welded in yet. I just made the 2 pieces. And now that I got those 2 pieces made, we'll just duplicate them, and we got to make 3 more. So here's, you know, here's what I made. It's just, you know, super simple. So it's 2 pieces. I took a piece of metal, I put it through the roller up there to get the curve in it, and then I just I took a piece of metal, I laid it over here, I marked these 2 lines, I cut those out on the shear, and then once I had that, I took this piece of metal over, you'll get to see it, and I laid the curve on it, and I marked the curve, and then I just used I used a grinder to grind out the curve, and voila, we're done. So way simpler, way easier. You know, I think that those 2 pieces took me 15 minutes to make, maybe, you know, and I spent 2 hours trying to build a buck and make one earlier, and it just didn't work. And that's why I'm not willing to attempt to try and make another one again out of one piece, because I spent 2 hours on it, it didn't work, and I was able to make it out of 2 pieces in 15 minutes. So in the next hour, we should be able to have all 4 corners made and tacked in place, you know. So I mean, it might take a little bit longer. I got to grind out these corners and clean out the booger welds that they have in there that are actually interfering with me putting these in there nice and tight. But anyways, the point is that, you know, I could have had all 4 corners done in 2 hours, where I kind of fiddle-farted around with that first attempt for 2 hours, and it didn't work. Again, you know, it was a lesson learned. I learned what not to do, you know, so you can't get it right all the time. You gotta fail sometimes so you learn something. If you get it right every time, you're not really learning nothing. So, but is what it is. I'm gonna take a quick break and just kind of get set up here to knock out a few more of these, and I'll turn the camera on and we can knock them out together. And yeah, we'll at least attempt to. Still pretty early in the evening. It's 9 o'clock. I guess that's early in the evening. You know, we should have enough time to knock out a few pieces and maybe grind up these corners a little bit and get them tacked in place. So I'll see you guys shortly. High five. Okay, I'm back. Got a little piece of metal here. So first I'm gonna make 3 more of these. We're just gonna, you know, we're just gonna put them in the corners. We'll mark them out, cut them out. Should be pretty easy. Okay, now we'll go over to the shear. We'll just shear these off. It'd be nice if I had a little Beverly shear, but not yet. So I'm just nipping off corners first. And then we'll go in and we'll nip off the whole thing. So basically, so we have our 3 pieces now. Grab some vise, a little vise action. tight again. Clamped in there nice and tight. Put some safety specs on. Did you watch that wheel get smaller? Cheap Amazon wheels. They definitely don't make them like they should. Grinding one of them was no problem with. You know, this one is just an old 36, but once I tried to do the 3, seemed a bit much, so I decided to use the grinder over there, which worked really well, but since it's no longer mounted to my workbench and it's on that stand that I made, it does have a little wobble on it, on the stand itself. I think I need to get some rubber feet or something to put on the bottom to get rid of that wobble. But then that cheap wheel doesn't help either. It knocks itself out of balance real fast and then it starts shaking and wobbling all over the place. So we got it close. We'll just we'll finish wrapping it up with this guy. I put a new piece of 36 on there. Okay, I got all those made. Took 20 minutes to get those made. Now we got to make this curve. So this wasn't hard to make either. So let's see, get you set up over here. So basically I'm just gonna mark this. Need my marker. Oh, Womp, womp, womp. So, wish I had one of the crappy old ones, I guess. Because he would still be good if I had another cat. I threw them all out. Oops. There's a new one too. I just opened him a couple weeks ago. So, I made a few of them. Where's my first one? So, here's my first one that I made. I think we can probably get a couple out of these. You know, just use one and get a couple. I use the thinnest one. I need my lovely marker now. My custom shorty. So I think I'm just gonna remake this first one that I made. Because I was just kind of just making it to make it, and I used some hand shears to cut it, and I hate those hand shears. It doesn't ever cut very nice, and okay, so I got four new ones marked out. Crap. Should have just shouldn't. If I mark them on the inside, I can use the shear to cut them. The brake shear. I keep getting dripped on. It's raining in my shop again. Alright, let's try and see if we can this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, I should be able to cut these on the shear. And then hopefully it'll I just want to make sure that it's not gonna, you know, take the curve out of it. It's close. Okay, so now we got 4. Now I gotta clean up these welds just a little bit in here, and I think that I gotta. Well, for one, you can see how much higher I'm sitting up on the metal. It's because there's a weld there. So that's why I gotta clean those welds up. So, you know, need to grind out those welds and make some minor adjustments, but that's it. See, and I think just that little bit, man, it does so much to it. It doesn't make it look like it was just, you know, some rectangular tubing welded together. So, much better. My camera's about to die, so I'm out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tomorrow we'll grind up the welds and we'll get those welded in. Have a good night. See you later. Bye bye.